all right.
You're one of the Avengers. You're Vision. Are you here to help us?
Yo, what's up, guys? It's a bowl of cereal, and episode 6 of Wandavision was crazy. We got the Halloween-themed event. We know, again, spoiler warning, I'm going to be breaking down the episode, talking about the biggest things that have happened, and also I have a crazy theory that just might be crazy enough for the multiverse of madness setup, and I'll talk about that at the end. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe below. I'm doing this one solo, no read today. I'm going to try with the overlay. The copyright problems on YouTube have been not allowing us to upload in time, so I'm going to try it this way this week. So no read, just cereal, but don't worry, I've got a lot of great information for you all. Thank you guys for watching. Let's get into the top 5 things that happened and then my crazy theory. Let's dive in. First off, we see Tommy and Billy, Wanda and Vision's twins, finally get their powers. I don't think they've aged much since the end of last episode, but in this Halloween episode, they both get powers. Tommy, I believe, gets the speed, and Billy gets some kind of telekinesis. He can like see images of what's going on. He sees when Vision's in trouble, and like images of the soldiers in front of his father. I'm not exactly sure. They're young, so their powers might change a little bit and develop more over time. But still, I mean, they're both very young. They have their powers now, so we see that. So that was a big part of this episode. I think they'll probably be in the Young Avengers that shape up, in the next couple of years. We'll see if there's any time jumps, in this phase of Marvel to the next. But they both have their powers, so as long as they live, I'm assuming, they'll be in the Young Avengers. So that was a big part of this episode. Second, we're going to talk about Captain/Director Hayward, who's, the director of S.W.O.R.D. now. And we see Monica and we see Agent Woo and Darcy here in a second come into frame. We see something is up with Hayward. We've seen the word scroll scribbled on a blackboard in previous episodes. We've seen his mood from his first appearance on the show with Monica Rambeau going from warm and funny in a nice relationship to now he seems very cold, and he names things very oddly, kind of how a scroll would, and he's not 100% in touch with everything going on. He also has this deep hatred towards heroes and superheroes. So something is obviously up with that. He talks about the past 5 years and barely keeping the power on, during what Marvel's calling the blip, when people were dusted away. So I don't know if it's an abandonment. He blames the heroes for the people he might have lost as a Skrull or as a human. The Skrull thing is just something I think could be a possibility. He definitely has some hatred towards superheroes. Potentially, maybe there could be a Hydra faction shaping up. If he doesn't believe that, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or S.H.I.E.L.D., S.W.O.R.D., they have the right intentions and they're too obsessed with heroes. Maybe he goes the more Hydra way and wants the technology and the power, to use in a different kind of way that he sees fit. So something is obviously up with Hayward, and we see him actually kick Rambeau and Woo and Darcy out and gets them removed from the facility. So something is obviously up there as they continue to show us this side of Hayward that no one's liking, fans or people in the show. Thirdly, we get some weird interactions this episode with Wanda and her brother Petro, who was dead, but now we believe that someone pulled a different brother from a different multiverse into her world that she's created. He also calls this little bubble that she's in, the hexagon, so to speak, I think Shang Li, and it's it means utopia, kind of safe space, and he credits her for creating this all and controlling it, keeping the children safe, and kind of keeping everything modern and giving people great jobs and a great life and keeping them all safe. So he's kind of crediting her, for all this around her, but she still herself is kind of in denial that this is all her, and she said she doesn't know how she's done it. So again, she's sticking with her denial. If it's subconsciously she doesn't want to accept it or doesn't remember, or there still could be someone behind the scenes pulling pulling the string, so to speak, and trying to make her believe that she is doing all of this. I'm really confused as to where the other Avengers are, or, even some of her own friends. Have they not tried to reach out or make their way in? She fell into this she said she was really lonely and alone kind of state. So I don't know what happened there. The Avengers, I guess, great at fighting crime, terrible friends. That's my takeaway. Terrible friends. So yeah, that was a big thing that happened in this episode. We just see a lot of weird interaction with the brother and sister, Petro, Wanda. He thinks he knows what's going on, and then she also sees him kind of dead, how she's seen Vision in the past as well. So something mentally is breaking down with her. Something is going on, but it's something that she's obviously trying to suppress to the max. So that was a huge thing that happened in this episode as well. The fourth and fifth biggest things, in my opinion, that happened in this episode are kind of tied together, so just follow along. Vision is being tracked by Hayward, and Hayward was doing this in secret. We're still not sure how or why. Again, that hints towards some of the shade and the darkness behind Hayward's character and how he's acting, how he is. But Vision, he's fed up with it. He sees that there's a point that they're not supposed to pass. People aren't moving. They're standing still. People are terrified. So he's moving forward, and he hits the force field, and he is pushing his way through. Now, we didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but Wanda's hinted that this is their home. They have to stay there, that she's going to keep him safe. And when Vision finally breaks through out of this safe spot that Wanda has created or helped create, we're not too sure, but he breaks through, and we see him just immediately starting to pull apart. Like, his parts are flying back behind him into the force field, back into Westfield, and he is dying. How we saw him, die at the hands of Thanos. We see him again. He's not getting dusted per se, but it's a very similar, just breakdown of his body. And I know we didn't see him get dusted, but we saw others get dusted. And it looks very similar to that, or like a TV character stepping off the screen and them not fully being able to separate themselves from that reality, that little world. So he's yanked back. We see Darcy run up, and the Sword agents, it's like they want to watch him die. And Director Hayward is standing right there front and center watching the show. I'm sure he's enjoying it. So that's the fourth thing. That biggest thing is we see Vision break the barrier, and kind of like he falls down and dies again, like right in front of us. This takes us directly in to the fifth thing, the biggest thing that happened in this episode, in my opinion. Wanda freezes everything around her and supercharges. We've never seen her use her power on this scale. The last time we saw her even use a ton of her power was against Thanos, when she hits him with the famous "you took everything from me," and he was like, "I don't even know who you are," and she was like, but you will," and she almost basically kills him, and he has to sacrifice everything, his whole battlefield and all his people, to keep himself safe. But she is supercharged right here, like Thor with the new hammer. She just supercharges the bubble and just blows it up. We're not sure how much bigger, but you can see it steadily moves and moves and moves and engulfs all the Sword agents except for Hayward. We see Darcy gets engulfed. We don't know what's going to happen to her. We see it changes everything. Obviously, it has to adjust to the time. So it changes everything into carnivals and hot air balloons, and it changes the Sword agents into clowns. It's a really cool animation. It's a lot of fun. But, we just see Wanda, she wants to keep Vision safe. It's her number one thing. So she just blows up the bubble into this huge proportion that we're not sure how much, but it is huge. She is now engulfed so much more. Doctor Strange, the other Avengers, Nick Fury, someone has to be aware that this is going on, and I'm sure we're going to get a big cameo by the end of this season. Now, this brings me to my big crazy theory that I was thinking about today after watching the episode and everything around Marvel that's happened. Now, my theory is it is very possible that Ultron is, in fact, still alive. First, I mean, that's something that Marvel fans have speculated year after year. How can he really die if he can hop in any kind of machinery? He can put himself basically anywhere, and there was no 100% guarantee that all of him was wiped out. It was kind of left a little bit open. And with the multiverse and with everything that has happened, we see there's so many different realities. We have Loki who died, he came back. Pietro was dead. Now a different version of him comes back. We've seen so many characters. Vision was dead and Wanda brings him back herself. I think it is very possible. He's been name dropped in an episode of WandaVision already when they talked about how Pietro died in Ultron, when Monica Rambeau was in the bubble earlier in the episodes of WandaVision. She name drops him. They both, Wanda and Pietro, have ties to Age of Ultron, the Avenger movie they both star in with Ultron. It is very possible that with Vision, if Vision dies at the end of this, or if Sword manages to take Vision's body away from Wanda, or whatever the situation is going on, that Ultron could take Vision's body, the original body that was made for Ultron. Ultron was going to steal to have the quote-unquote perfect body that was going to be Ultron's body. So could we see a multiverse or version of Ultron come back or be lurking somewhere in the shadows, and he steps in or kind of takes Vision's body at the very end of this season? I think it's something that definitely could be very possible. And I think it would be, it would blow my mind. I know it would blow so many people's minds. And Ultron was just a great character. His lines, his appearance on the screen was just amazing. He was an amazing villain. And I think with the technology that Sword has been working on and how Hayward is trying to move things forward and maybe rely less on superheroes and more on a machinery and different types of AI, I think they could accidentally awaken maybe something that had a piece of Ultron inside of it. I think it's very possible, and that's just my crazy theory. Do with it as you will. We'll see what ends up happening. But I'm just saying, just think about it. The different things that we've seen, the name drops, the characters, the multiverse of madness. It's very possible that we could see Ultron again, and I would absolutely love it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you. Again, please drop a like, a comment, and a sub if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next week to break down episode 7 of WandaVision. I can't wait. Thank you guys so much.